Our next featured match for the round of 32 is MOPP4 versus Guerrillas, two very well-known groups. MOPP4 is the home team for this set and thus gets the first pick, which is Lakeville from the south. Let's get it going. And starting out here with MOPP4, we are running with one 5100, one IS-3, two T-69s, a T-71, a Bison, and a T-1 Cunningham. Meanwhile, with Guerrillas, we have two IS-3s, two T-69s, a 1390, and we are missing a couple people on here.
Nice little boost from Taladon Conflict there, trying to get that Bison across early. Yeah, the lack of two tanks on Guerrilla's side actually may explain the reason why this map was chosen. Lakeville is not something that people typically want to play, but sightlines are absolutely vital here, so having two extra tanks would definitely put the advantage in MOPP4's hands.
Yeah, exactly. Not being able to have some kind of passive scouting in like the 1-2, which we can see right now from Guerrilla's side, that means that entire valley is just open. There's no telling what's there, which actually may be why they're biasing their two T-69s and a 1390 in the center there. Because usually you pull out of that pretty fast. We can see the IS-3 is not too far away for support. What do you think about this setup that they have going right now?
I think they were trying to get to the middle, look for lights as MOPP4 cross into the east, and then just peppering them with a 69 fire, because they will be loaded in time. The 1390 wouldn't, and the 5100s, or the IS-3s definitely would.
Yeah, so maybe just trying to get some of those initial spots there. And that could be why they have the IS-3 so far out of town, too. You can see the T-71 from MOPP4 right now, just trying to secure some information that says, see if anything had pushed in, like the IS-3s, and then they can make their decision on which way they want to float. Not a lot of spotting going on here from, unfortunately, Guerrilla's side, and that's going to be a lot of because they're down those two T1 tanks. So it's really on MOPP4 just finding where they are and being able to jump on them. And maybe even take some advantage of that Bison there in the center if they can get any lights. You can see the T-69 trying to get some kind of vision either up that side too.
If MOPP4's T-71 can spot the IS-3s in city, then all MOPP4 needs to do is bring everybody back to cap and then push up the 1-2. I think they're trying to make that call right now, but they're hesitant to risk the 71. If their 5100 and 69 were all the way over in base already, this would be a much simpler thing. You could risk the 71, and if you went down, you still got what you needed out of it.
Yeah, and one of the big problems they're going to have if they do end up crossing back, and they don't know about this right now other than they saw the shots from the T-69s. They didn't actually see the T-69s. But that 1390 would have been able to spot them crossing back, and they would have taken a ton of damage as they were doing that. Because obviously they're moving back uphill, so it's going to be a lot slower roll for them. You can see Guerrillas now pulling their 1390 back. It looks like they might be going to check the valley just to see how clear that is. I could be wrong, though, because he is taking a way route back.
I think he just doesn't want to cross there at B2 and potentially get caught by tanks that are already there. It's a little bit safer doing what he's doing, even though support is so far away. If he gets caught, there's no survival anyways.
Yeah, exactly. You get stuck in that little dip back there, it's not really going to matter. The T-69's got to take some time to get back there, and the IS-3s definitely won't get back to support you. But they can see right now with Captain No Pants that there's nothing coming valley just yet. I wonder how much they're going to use him to try to clear out some of that valley. That would actually give them a lot of information if they don't spot anything there. That'll put MOPP4 essentially either in the southeast or further deeper into the cap down in the southwest. We can see now Yankee and Check Monster starting to pull out from the city. We might be seeing that valley rush you were talking about.
They're definitely considering. You can see as they're backing up, they're keeping their fronts to where the enemy may come from, just to make sure they don't take any too easy shots. But they will be pulling those IS-3s back, almost undoubtedly going down the 1-2 line. I can't see any other reason why they would be pulling them out of town at this point, except for maybe to turtle on cap. But with 5 guys against 7, a turtle is not necessarily in your favor.
Yeah, and this is very interesting here. So we have Barham in the T-71 just did some looking over the valley there. He did not see the two T-69s that were creeping up there, and it looks like he's committing all the way back to base. But they're sending a T-1 to try to keep an eye on that. They're going to have a little surprise here in a second when those T-69s get a little bit closer.
We'll see if the T1 is able to spot him. If he does, then at least MOPP4 will know what's going on, but they will be down one of their one tank advantages.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be really key for Guerrillas here, trying to knock out some of these eyes over the map. Because, like I said, that's their huge disadvantage here. They don't know what's going on anywhere unless they make a push somewhere.
Just getting the T1 and the Bison alone would tie this matchup. Actually, it would put it in the favor of Guerrillas already.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit more of the hit points compared to what they have with the T71. Because obviously a 1390 is going to beat out a T71. Although we've seen T71s do some pretty insane amounts of damage on some matches.
Now, one thing worth mentioning here is where that Bison is. If they do come down the valley, and it looks like they're leaving at least one tank, the IS-3 middle there, that Bison is going to be able to pick them apart while they sit on cap.
Yeah, definitely. So cap pressure is not really going to work as long as MOPP4 can keep some kind of lighting there. I do like the IS-3, and it looks like the 1390 even maybe, taking the center there, so that when they do make that push to the cap, then anything crossing from the east side to the west is going to get hits from that IS-3 that's going to be probably pretty dug in by that rock there. I think that's a great idea. It's going to be able to, take off a lot of hit points before they even start the engagement over the cap.
The timing here is just uncanny. Look at this 71 finally clearing out the rest of town, but now nobody's here.
Surprise, surprise, but there's the 1390. They at least know he's going back to center. But that really doesn't tell you much considering how much the 1390 moves around anyways.
They're committing over here in the valley. IS-3 and 69 spotted so far, all three spotted. MOPP4 has definitely got to start running back at this point, but with those two tanks in mid, they may pay a pretty heavy price for that.
Yep, and that's Guerrilla really needs them to pay a heavy price because, like you were saying, that Bison is going to be able to do some work here with them just sitting on this corner. You can see now we have MOPP4 making some movement to the west, T71 coming up to do some spotting. There's already a T69 there that's already turned around to see if he can do any kind of resetting or anything when they come up, and there's the light on the IS-3, so they know that if they cross to the west, they're going to take some kind of punishment.
Check Monster in his IS-3 is prime Bison food, where he is now one shot out, 291, most likely the Bison already.
Yeah, definitely. That was too low to be probably an IS-3 there. Some big exchanges. The fire Bachrocker taking a lot of damage. That must have been from the T69s up on that higher rise there, able to get shots.
Again, an 8.5 with those, before heat changes, they can shred an IS-3 from almost any distance.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the reasons that the new changes are so great. Makes the IS-3s, again, very useful against those heat rounds.
MOPP4 is in an awkward position here. They need to be crossing back, especially now that the 1390 is out of cap, but they don't know that. So they're going to end up getting triangulated here, and this could turn bad in a hurry.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You can see Guerrilla's 1390 coming all the way around the backside there. That might be a problem for the Bison when they start making that move, and then they'll get the back shots. This is really smart play by Guerrillas. They know where all of MOPP4 tanks are, so they really just have to section them off here.
Slider took a ton of damage getting in position there, but Nemesis is covering Chevelle with his T1, trying to make the most of this, but Chevelle is still getting picked apart by Slider. And I'm guessing a 1390 by that low roll?
I think that was. The angle of that shot coming in looked like it was a 1390 as well. Yeah, that's definitely the 1390.
It's gotta be.
All the way from the church. Look at that. That is such a long shot.
Interesting thing to note there is Chevelle actually got kind of locked in by the T1 at that point. It was there to save him, but now he's got to go forward and get back around it. We'll see if Slider can make the most of that.
Yep. It at least did take one hit from him, so he got some kind of advantage out of it.
That's two shots out of Chevelle that didn't do any damage to Slider. As soon as he's ready, he can come right back out and clip him down.
Ooh, 100 hit points left.
But he's
so close. Oh,
with a blind shot.
Nice. Great shot, Slider. Oh, here comes the push from MOPP4, trying to get right in there. See if they can knock Slider out. It's taking some damage coming in from the T69s. Slider's in a great position, though. Those buildings are covering him very well.
And so begins the day of the IS-3. Looks like Yankee took a ton of damage, actually, sitting there. It explains a lot of what MOPP4 was doing. Totally occupied by him trying to get him out first. Probably wasn't the right choice, though, because he can only fire so fast, and it will be a lot of damage, but you gotta close that gap sooner rather than later.
Exactly. exactly. Here we have Slider at 28 hit points, goes down. Talon only at 398. Bachrocker just about down. Here comes Yankee in. Bezel finishing off. So we're getting a lot of damage just going out here. Look at all these angles that we have going on.
Oh, that's just brutal. Once they stepped up into that pocket, being triangulated by all three of those prongs, there was no hope.
Here's Captain No Pants coming in for a finish up there. Just plated Mega left and Conflict in the Bison. I don't think there's any way they could pull us out there. 2 seconds left on the clock as well. That's going to be a tier point advantage right there.
Wow, great game by Guerrillas. 2 tanks down and still pulling it out on a map they didn't choose.
We're now 0-1 with MOPP4 versus Guerrillas. Guerrillas have chosen Himmelsdorf from the north as their map. Let's head in. And here we are with MOPP4 again, running with two 5100s, two IS-3s, a T-69, and two T-1 Cunninghams, while Guerrillas is running with two IS-3s, two T-69s, and a 1390, the same lineup that they ran on Lakeville just moments ago. But still down those two players. What do you think about this lineup on this map?
Well, first off, I understand why they chose Himmelsdorf. Out of pretty much any other map out there, this is one of the best ones to play if you only have 5 tanks. The lack of T1s is a significant thing, but they brought the 1390 to compensate. That's going to cost them in a head-to-head battle, but they have no better options, because if the T1s got on cap, they'd need to have something fast to go back there and reset. They're trying to take control of this map by plummeting straight down the 2 line. It's really their best option. Let's see if it works out for them.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. They got early spotted by the T1s that MOPP4 already had over there. You can see MOPP4 scrambling to do a return to be able to catch them before they get to cap. The big thing that here for MOPP4, they have a bunch of tanks that are sitting on that angled road looking right into the cap. If any of Guerrillas cross over to get next to the church, there's going to be some fire that they're going to be taking there. This is very interesting. You can also see they're already set up with 2 tanks right by the church that can wrap around. I'm not sure how this is going to work out for them. Guerrillas even just pulling their 1390 off, trying to get some of their spot, making sure there's not a counter cap, maybe it looks like.
That's the only thing he could be doing. Looks like Guerrillas now piling up before they make this final push. Unfortunately, MOPP4 is in waiting, as this is a very common crossing to start cap pressure.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really surprised they did not get spotted on that cross there. Oh, there we go, until the very end. That was actually pretty amazing they didn't get spotted there.
And took no damage. That's even more amazing.
Yeah. And so here we have MOPP4 doing their push in. Bachrocker looks like he took a hit in there. They're coming in from that angle. Bezel actually staying back, going to get some crossfire in. Ooh, this is going to be a real tough fight for Guerrillas.
Ooh, Barroom and Bachrocker coming over the top, 2 IS-3s. Without all their tanks in the fight, and even with the 1390, I'm not sure Guerrillas is going to be able to pull this out. Certainly not trapped the way they are right now.
Yeah, right now, I can't tell if that 1390 did anything in the fight there. I saw him pull in, and now he's running back up towards the cap, I assume going for the T1s. But all we have left is Slider and Bezel here against 4 tanks. It's not looking too good here.
So you can see Chevelle there was down to about 50%. That's actually due to the 1390. He was sitting in the G line, repelling the 69 from coming up over the top. He did do his job, but given the health, I'm not sure all his shots landed.
Yeah, and frankly, there's not a whole lot he can do with the focus fire that was going on there. Here we have just Bezel left, who just knocked off Barroom there a second ago, so they got their last kill in before here comes the rush of all the tanks here.
No Pants trying to isolate Chevelle, seeing if maybe he can make the most of this. Bezel's gotta be oh, there he goes.
Oh, Captain No Pants all by himself. Run, Captain No Pants, run!
Oh, but Talon and Bachrocker are coming back around that corner. 5100 and an IS-3. If he can make it around this corner, he might be looking okay.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, with the T1 cap pressure, he probably couldn't have back any time, but great job, MOPP4, seeing that coming in and, just really prepping for that push to the cap and then, dumping right on top of him.
They pretty much had all their bases covered. They had a hill presence and they had T1s lining everything else. Not a whole lot Guerrillas was going to do without broadcasting it pretty far in advance.
Yeah, exactly. That brings us to 1-1 in the match of MOPP4 versus Guerrillas. Heading into our tiebreaker map, Ensk, MOPP4 has chosen the north side. Let's get it going. And here we are with MOPP4 running with 3 IS-3s, a T32, a T69, and 2 T1 Cunninghams, while Guerrillas is running with a 5100, 2 IS-3s, 2 T69s, so they got rid of their buddy, the 1390. What do you think about these lineups on Ensk?
Well, I'm noticing a distinct lack of autoloader for MOPP4. That is a curious choice of tanks. They've only got one, and that's the T69, who's holding down the 6th line. So I'd actually give the advantage to Guerrillas tank-wise, and especially with these 2 IS-3s already rushing into crossfire.
Wow, that was a very interesting push straight through the center there without any kind of viewer there. Usually you see tanks coming up the 2-3, so making that kind of push is very awkward. Those 2 IS-3s are really on their own here as Captain No Pants jumps in, Slider jumps in, lots of damage going out, Check Monster almost going down, Plate Mega the only one left of those IS-3s there, and he goes down. Huge disadvantage to MOPP4 already.
That is a killer blow. Guerrillas just needs to give themselves time to clip on a lot of those autoloaders and then counter push, and they will wrap this up quick. But Check Monster is low in his IS-3. I believe Slider or Bezel were also low. It's not over yet, especially check out the T1 heading into white cap right now.
Yep, that's going to be a huge advantage. They'll have cap pressure, which is going to force Guerrillas back. And there is, as you can see, there are 2 tanks that are in one-shot range for Guerrillas. So MOPP4 could start to catch this up pretty quick. Bezel and Slider both just hightailing it to get back to cap. I am really surprised that MOPP4 doesn't have some kind of setup here to screen them out while the T1's capping.
It looks like they were still trying to get set, but way too far back to fire on South Cap. If they were in the south firing north, then the equivalent positions would probably work out for them. But that T1 was essentially wasted at that point.
Yeah, exactly. The other T1 for MOPP4 here at least is seeing that the IS-3s are in that row, so they have a good idea on where at least half of Guerrilla's tanks are. This is going to get really tough for them to reposition and tuck these out, especially it looks like they're pretty set in staying in this corner of the map here, taking advantage of those windows that stuff crosses.
Guerrillas are in killer position here with a mismatch on the 6th line itself with 2 69s versus 1, and all 3 other tanks are at off angles where they can step into the fight real quick. Right now, MOPP4 only has an IS-3 and a 32 to support that 69, but they're across the road.
Yeah, with the building cover that's there, there's not a lot they're going to be able to do here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some pushing on Chevelle here as they start to move through. You can see the IS-3s for Guerrillas starting to move up through the city, trying to get some sort of flank in there. AMX 5100 probably holding back to support with that cross angle there for the T69s. He's really low on hit points, so he probably doesn't want to get too far in there. Chevelle taking a ton of damage making the run in there. All the tanks lit, so they know they're coming straight down the tracks.
That's a rare case of a mistake actually turning in your favor. They missed the IS-3 and 32 crossing, but they were coming up to the diagonal road. MOPP4 thought they weren't in firing lines, and they were able to tag that 69 twice with IS-3s as he crossed.
Yeah, this is a very... I'm not sure exactly how MOPP4 is going to be able to pull us out here. They at least have good angles, it looks like, on the 2 IS-3s who are pulling through. Barnum and Chevelle still taking quite a bit of damage there. Slider starting to move up, get another angle. Chevelle getting really close to go down. He might go down here to Bezel. I think Bezel might be reloading now.
Slider's role right here is absolutely vital. Whether he's firing or not, he is keeping tanks lit through proximity lighting. That 69 is down because of it. 69 Bezel is there capping off the bottom. Guerrilla's closing in. This may get messy, but it's definitely Guerrilla's game to lose.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, T1 getting Captain No Pants for a little bit. I don't think he could have finished him off, but hey, it was a good try, bud.
If you got a fire.
Exactly. Especially when so many people don't run fire extinguishers here. You can see Barnum and Balkarocker trying to get some kind of other damage in here. there's just too much around him at this point to do too much here.
Oh, that's, what, 2 shots from Check Monster so far that were pens for 0 damage? That could come back and haunt them if MOPP4 had more tanks.
Just Barnum left, just waiting for it to end. And there we go. So Guerrillas takes Ensk. That brings them up to a 2-1 victory. Congratulations, Guerrillas.
With 5 tanks.
With 5
Well
tanks. Very aggressive play. Beautiful to see.